Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to another week of our online learning. Okay, this week we're going to have Spirit Week all week with St. Tammany Parish. And today is Black and Gold Monday. So Miss Bowden's got her black and gold on. New Orleans. Little shirts to wear for the Saints games or to work out in. One of the two, you know. Hopefully we can wear them back to the Saints games when that season starts back up again. Can I get a hoot at? Hoot at? Yeah. Miss Martin would have loved that one. Okay, so today for science, we are going to learn all about our planet Earth, the third planet from the sun. So let's think. Last week we did the first two planets. Who remembers the first planet that's closest to the sun? Yeah, Mercury, very good. And what was the second planet from the sun? Look, second planet, it's got it starting with it. Venus, very good. So Earth is our third planet from the sun. And number 3, you put it sideways and it becomes an E. I hope I have it the right way and it's not backwards because my phone flip-flops me. So I'm backwards when I'm looking at it, but it's actually the right way when you're looking at it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, you might think, well, Miss Bowden, I already know all about the Earth. Well, you know a lot about the Earth because I've taught it to you before already in school. But at the same time, though, there are so many scientists that actually don't know that much about the Earth. We're still exploring and figuring out about our planet. But we do have some really cool facts about our planet. So, we know it's the third planet from the sun. It is a terrestrial planet, which means it's rocky. And it is the biggest planet in the inner planets. So out of the 4 rocky planets we're going to learn about, we've learned about Mercury, Venus, now Earth. And then we have a 4th one coming tomorrow. Out of those 4 planets, Earth is the biggest out of those planets. It is also the first planet from the sun to have a moon. And we learned all about our moon before we went off to break. Lots of cool, interesting facts. So Mercury doesn't have a moon. Venus doesn't have a moon. But Earth has a moon. And we only have one moon. We're the only planet in the solar system with only one moon. Pretty neat. We're also the only planet in the solar system with liquid water on its surface. No other planet has liquid water on it. Most of the other planets, they're either too hot to have water, so it evaporates into the air, into gases, or it's too cold and it freezes up into ice caps, which we'll learn about on another planet. But it's actually pretty cool that we're the only one who has water on the surface. We're the only one with one moon, and we're the only one that has life living on it, or that could sustain life, which means that could provide life because it's got all the right materials for it. It's like Goldilocks and the 3 Little Bears, you know. Papa was too big, Mama was too, not small, but soft maybe. But the little bear was just right. So Earth is just right for us to live in it, which is really cool. So Earth is, since it's the only planet that has water on its surface, guess how much water is on Earth? If you took the whole Earth, about 70% of it is made up of water. That's a lot of water, not that much land. And guess what? On that land, we've got over 7 billion people living there, and millions and billions of animal species and plant species. We're taking up a lot of space, if you think about it, but there's so much more space out there because of all the water. And most of that water we can't drink because it's the salt water. It's made up of all the oceans. Very little is the fresh water that we get so we can drink. So it's very important to make sure that we're doing the right thing to save our planet, to make sure that we still have all that good fresh water that we can get to make sure that we drink. Yeah, and enough living space to live. But on Earth, we've got, if you were to break Earth in half, remember I told you about this, Earth is made up of different layers. And the first layer of Earth is called the crust. Remember, I kind of told you it's like a jawbreaker. When you keep sucking into it, it's got lots and lots of different layers. Well, Earth's got 4 layers. And the very first layer is the crust. All of our trees and oceans and rivers and everything lies on top of our crust. And our crust is actually really thin. But scientists have never dug past the crust because it's way too solid and too much rock to get past it. So it's actually super deep for us to even try to go dig past it to get to the next layer. But in reality, it's really thin compared to the other layers of our planet. So underneath that crust, the surface that we live, or that the oceans and the trees and everything's on top of, underneath that is a big, thick, hot, molten lava called the mantle. It's full of magma, and sometimes that magma comes to the surface. And you know what it comes out of? Psh, a volcano. Yeah, volcano produces that magma, that hot molten lava. And where's that coming from? It's coming from the mantle, which is right below the crust. So the crust is itty bitty, where that volcano is going to be built on top of, because it's that rock pushed up. But underneath it, it's got these little chambers that are connected to the mantle, and all that magma comes whoosh, and it erupts out and onto our land. And then guess what? That magma cools down to become a rock called an igneous rock. And then we've got more lands because of it. Most of our islands, or actually almost all of your islands, have a volcano on it, because that's what an island is made of. It's made from a volcano and all that new rock forming. And then eventually life comes on it, which is the beautifulness of our Earth. Yeah. So let's go on with the third layer. So the first layer is the crust. The second's the mantle. And then the third and fourth layer kind of go together because they're called the core. You've got the outer core and the inner core. And so it's kind of like, you know, you have an apple and you have a core of an apple, which is the center. It's kind of like that, but they're so super duper hot. The outer core and the inner core are solid, and it's made up of iron, and that inner core is made up of nickel. But they're like tens and thousands of degrees super duper hot, even hotter than that liquid magma that's in the mantle. So we've got the itty bitty thin layer of our crust. We've got the mantle that carries all that magma that comes out of volcanoes. And then we've got a solid core made up of iron and nickel. And all of that is what attracts that gravity down to the center of Earth, which keeps us all staying on Earth. Yeah. So Earth is pretty cool, made up of all its different layers. Let's talk about, in general, Earth, how we know it rotates around the sun, and we know it rotates around its own axis. So it revolves around the sun, and it goes around the sun once a year. How many days is that? Yeah, that was 365. And it's actually 365 and a quarter, because every 4 years, like we had this year, we had a leap year, which makes 366 days in a year. And that just means that we have February 29th, an extra day in the year, and this year was our leap year. So this year we actually have 366 days to travel around the entire sun. Yeah, so as we're traveling around the sun, remember, Earth is still rotating because we have day and night. And how many hours were in a day? 24 hours in one day. Yeah, because we've got our 12 hours in the AM and 12 hours in the PM. The sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and so it rotates. But I said it rotates around its axis. Remember, Miss Bowden showed you our globe in class and how it was kind of tilted. And I said, it's like an imaginary pole going through it. Well, I told you it wasn't straight up and down. It had to be tilted. Well, it's tilted for a reason. I'm going to use my plant to kind of show you about Earth, okay? So, Earth is not straight up and down. It's tilted a little bit. It's tilted, I think, about 23 degrees maybe. I think it's about that much. I'll have to double check on that number. But because it's tilted, we've got the sun shining down on it. And so if you look at it, when the top part is facing away from the sun, that makes winter on the top half. Because Earth is kind of split by an imaginary line called an equator. It kind of like separates it in the middle. And you have a top half, which is the northern half, and you have a bottom half, which is the southern half. So here's the sun, and the sun's rays are beaming down. Well, the side that's farther away from the sun, guess what? They're not getting direct sunlight. And so the sun's kind of coming in at an angle, so it's not as hot when that's happening. So that's when it's the winter time. Down here, though, in the south, guess what? It's getting all that direct sunlight. It's getting straight on sunlight. So that makes it super hot, and that makes it summertime. So when we're in winter up here, it's summer in the south. So think of it this way. When North America has winter, South America has summer. And when North America has winter, Australia has summer. So when we're celebrating Christmas and it's nice and cold, guess when they're celebrating Christmas? In the summer, and they get to go swimming at Christmas time. Yeah, sometimes we get to because we're a little warm. We're a little closer to the equator, but for the most part, it's pretty chilly. Yeah. So as the Earth spins, guess what? It doesn't just stay that way because we don't stay in winter all year. It also turns a little bit. And so as it's turning, we got spring and fall, and then we get closer. So when the top half is facing that sun, now we're in summer, and the bottom is in winter. And then it keeps turning, and it becomes fall and spring again. And then it goes backwards, and winter and summer, and it keeps going like that. And so the tilt of the Earth's axis actually causes our seasons. I know it's kind of hard looking at it as a plant and thinking of it, the plant as the planet, but sometimes we got to use our imagination when we don't really have the resources at home to kind of show you guys. But the video that I'm going to send you on YouTube, that kind of shows you the tilting of the axis, so you have a better understanding of it. I hope it doesn't confuse you as much with the plant, but it's a good representation. It showed you the difference in between them. Yeah. So let's go ahead, and one more thing about Earth is that we have a ton of satellites orbiting the Earth. So that means that they're rotating around our Earth. And all these satellites that NASA has put into space, or the different space programs put into space, is they're rotating around the Earth, they're orbiting around the Earth, and they're taking lots of pictures of our planet. So scientists can actually help study about our planet and learn more new things about why we're the only planet that's able to sustain life. Why can't other planets be like Earth? We are just the right distance from the sun. We are. Anybody remember that distance? We talked about that in class. It's a big number. 93 million miles away from the sun. Remember, it takes the sunlight about 8 minutes to get to Earth. And if we were any closer, it'd be way too hot. And if we were any further away, it would be way too cold. But we are just right. Yeah, for temperature-wise. But these satellites orbit the Earth and take pictures so we can study cool facts about the Earth. They can also see how our atmosphere protects us. Because remember, we talked about meteors come into Earth all the time, but our atmosphere burns them up. So they never come and crash really into the Earth. It's just that they get burned up before they enter it because our atmosphere protects us. And it keeps us warm, and it keeps us the just right temperature, and it keeps all of our good air, our oxygen that we breathe in. And that's what makes Earth sustainable for life. So I think it's all pretty cool. We learned lots of information about Earth. Here's some cool pictures from some of those satellites on Earth. There's one. Here's another. You can see the land and the water, and the white is the clouds, guys. And look at this picture. This, if you can make it out, that's North America. That's where we live. So it's an actual picture of our continent. If you can see it close, I'm going to give you this website so you can go look at it. I'm going to get you a little closer. Yeah. Actually, so cool. So yeah, we've got our third planet from the sun, Earth, which is probably one of the coolest planets around because we're on it and it involves us and involves us being able to learn about it, which is also cool. Tomorrow we're going to learn about our next planet, our fourth and our last inner planet of our solar system, our last rocky planet. I think you guys will really like it, but go ahead, enjoy your day, and I'll be back with you for your math and reading videos.